What's up, good people? This is the Truth Is podcast, and we are going to discuss Life After Divorce Part 4. We have our guest here, William, who dropped a lot of jewels in Divorce Part 3. And, we want to ask him a lot more questions, get more down and dirty to the nitty gritty. We're going to start this episode off with Podcast Pop.
Let's go, Pop.
Okay, so in part 3, we had a little sermon and we heard about divorce and recovering and we heard all the good things. Now I want to get down, now that we know Will, I want to talk more about what divorce did to him, how it changed him, and try to help somebody that's going through divorce. So, you said you had 4 kids.
Mm-hmm.
How was it with your kids after divorce? Did your kids choose sides, or were they young enough that they understood? Were they adults when this happened?
No, they were teens and preteens. And so the state of Connecticut requires what's called parenting classes before you go and have the actual divorce. And I think this really helped me. And so I just think in circumspect and just looking back that therapy is so needed for you and your children, men, women, whoever you are, husband, wife, ex, therapy. So what the state of Connecticut did, they required us to sit through a parenting course, which gave us videos and understanding of how the children were going to respond. They proactively gave us some tools to identify in the event that one of the children is trying to fix it, blame themselves. What did I do wrong?
Right.
It's my fault.
Yeah.
And so all those, and then the side choosing.
Right.
In my particular case, I found it better to be the designated driver for my kids. I had to take the keys because I already knew she was crapping on me.
Okay.
I knew that, and I heard it because it came back. But one of the things that, listen, brothers who are listening, the best defense is no offense. Pick your fights, no timing. Because her mother, her girls, whoever it might be, they're gonna run you in the ground. That's a part of it. But if you have kids, you bring and show your kids that you're the designated driver. You be the bigger person.
Right.
And if you are going to talk about her, do not do it around the kids. Don't do it on the phone while they're driving in the back seat or in the front seat. Don't do it in the house. Make sure they're either asleep because kids can't handle grown folk stuff.
That's
Right,
true.
right,
That's true.
right.
And that's the problem because when the woman is or the person is so hurt, she don't care who she craps to. Where she do it?
Right.
She don't have any. There's no walls. There's no filters.
Okay. See, I didn't see my divorce like that when I was growing up. My dad and we had a ghetto divorce. We didn't have no counseling. We didn't go to no courts.
Right.
Right.
We just chose whose side we was on.
Right.
Right.
Who in the kid's dad or mom.
Right.
So that's great. Connecticut seems like they pro-divorce.
No, well, no, not just that. And I'm just saying they have that, they put that, and I don't know if it's still going on because that happened to me 16, 17. It happened to me a while ago.
Right.
We did that in 2000, in the mid 2007.
Right.
But it's not about who's right or who's wrong. The child don't know what to do.
Right.
And parents have the tendency to allow the children to see too much too soon, hear too much too soon.
Absolutely.
And the child is now trying to cope,
Right.
trying to deal. It was wrong for your father and mother to put you in the middle or to draw a line and for you to choose. But when emotions are involved, either she wants to get even or he wants to get even, and the child suffer.
Right.
So that brother who might be going through a point in the divorce or pro divorce, where she's reneging on letting them see the kid.
Right.
All right, back to the modification. All right, because now the courts will honor your modification, and because she don't want to honor your days that you did verbally,
Right.
you can now go and have a set day.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they'll even, if you don't want her to come to your house, they'll set a neutral spot
Absolutely.
with a mediator in place, you have that right. In the meantime, get involved in their school. If you can't, she won't let you see them this week, guess what? You're a parent. You can go to their school. Yeah, most guys didn't do it. I did that because I went through a season where she was switching up on me with days. So I said, you ain't gonna stop me from seeing my kids. Well, during the modification process, all the teachers knew who William was.
Right.
All the counselors knew who William was.
Right.
Because I was a good father before, during the divorce.
Right.
And I did not let her anger toward me or hostility toward me or manipulation toward with the kids stop me from seeing my kids.
Well, this is what I'll say. I mean, to me, my opinion, shame on those women who take those actions. Okay? Regardless if the man was the cause of the divorce or if he filed for a divorce or she, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
The point is shame on you, woman or man, for taking those actions because that spouse decided they didn't want to be with you for whatever reason. Children have nothing to do with it.
Sure.
Nothing. So really shame on that person who decide to go the wicked way with that. Because in my opinion, that's what that is. You know, you're using innocence to hurt someone else.
Sure.
But my question is, I'm sorry, Pop, do you have another question before I say
Ask
anything?
me, I could wait. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. We've
wanna
done
know.
enough
I
talking.
want to know, where did divorce send you?
Well, I didn't know what
Because
to,
what I'm trying to say is, I seen my father when he was divorced, he got addicted to drugs. I seen other people that got divorced, they got addicted to alcohol. I see others that became womanizers. I see others that just stayed indoors. So I want to know, maybe the question better is, did divorce send you somewhere, and how did you come out of that place?
well, I was just more or less in retreat mode. I didn't know what to expect. Because this person that I didn't realize was doing so many wicked things behind my back
Right.
or to fame my name, I was constantly on defense. So I didn't have any addictions, thank God. I didn't have any alcohol issues, any drug issues. I was so prone to trying to survive, trying to keep what I had worked hard for. You know, and my name was ran through the mud. I could not stop it because, like, if Michelle Obama decided to go ham on Barack Obama and tell some of their business, 90% of Americans are gonna believe her.
Right.
That's just the way it goes. They'll run to her, and I'm not saying that that's altogether true, but I believe that a good percentage of people are going to believe. And so I didn't fight because I was so busy trying to keep my kids out of it. Monitoring their behavior, how it affected them, while trying to make a living,
Trying to survive yourself.
trying to survive.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the unfair part of, in many cases. And then there are men who just give up. There are men, soon as they feel they have to pay child support, I don't even want to be around my kid.
Wow.
That's how they get. Oh, she got the money. Oh no, I'll let her fix it. I'll let her do this. I'll let her do that. And so now the child is affected because of his anger.
But you still stayed present, even physically and financially, even though you was paying child support.
I had to. And there are times I was held in contempt. I was held in contempt twice.
Oh,
Yeah, because this is before I learned the power of modification. Because my income has changed.
right.
And she really defecated on my name. And see, in the business that I'm in, name is everything.
Right.
God, name is everything. And it traveled in the wind, and people believed it.
Right.
You know, people will believe a lie rather than they will the
No,
truth.
definitely.
This is very true.
You know what I'm saying?
yes,
And
yeah.
so I couldn't defend it. And even things that I knew about her personally, I protected.
So you still was protecting her
I
even
still was-
after what she has done and continue to do.
Until that one day I let loose on her.
Oh,
I
okay.
told her I had a laundry list, and I shut her down because I told her things about her that she didn't know I knew.
Right.
Sorry.
So you had ammunition
Oh, yeah.
that could have really hurt her character or pull her down, but you chose not to take that
Right.
route.
Correct.
Okay, because of,
The children.
thank you. Okay.
So someone has to be the designated driver.
Okay.
I believe somebody's got to take the keys.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if you're going to have your break down privately. Break down, have your breakdown. You know, because again, we're both parties. None of us, me or her, were ever diagnosed. We were undiagnosed, even getting married, undiagnosed through our tenure in the spiritual world. Because Jesus is going to fix everything. When the reality is we need therapy. I believe the therapists need a therapist.
They
They
usually
do.
Yeah.
Doctors need doctors.
You better know it.
Physician cannot heal thyself.
And so we frowned upon therapy. So to that man that's out here dealing with the lack of accountability, find some help. You know, the court even will help you. Insurances will help you. Whatever it might be, find someone who you can dump on, who you can share, who can handle who you are.
Absolutely.
And then monitor your kids. Allow your kids to openly speak their mind and bring that subject. Have the hard conversation. You know, have the hard conversation, because I believe when you're by yourself, you lie to yourself. And you can legitimately be by yourself and conjure up all kinds of anger and
And
emotions.
believe your own lies.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this question. You mentioned therapy. Do you, because the truth is, podcast is faith-based,
Sure.
and we all believers of Christ. So, do you believe that it's better to seek spiritual therapy or
Secular.
Secular, that's
Yeah.
the word, therapy. What would you recommend?
Both.
Okay.
You know, I believe both, because they're trained in this. And many times the therapist is just, majority of the time they're going to listen. You have an hour session, but they're going to cut it off perfectly at 45 minutes or 50 minutes.
Or charge you overtime?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
And their job is to listen and ask the poignant questions.
Right.
They're going to cause you to reflect.
Right,
Empathetic listening is so important. Asking the right questions
right.
and creating a safe place. You know, the altar is wonderful, but you need
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
your mind right. You
Yeah.
gotta get your mind right.
to unpack some things. It's so important.
So,
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Nita.
So I wanted to ask you a question about the children. So how did that work? Like now, did the children ever, you said that their mom tried to poison their minds or whatever against you, and you tried to be right. So did it ever turn around for you?
Oh,
Did the
absolutely.
children ever recognize or understand?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Two of my oldest two kids, during the divorce, after the divorce, my oldest son could not live with her, so he came to live with me. Right? We lived in two different cities here in Connecticut. And I got him ready for the Marines. He went in the Marines. After he graduated, did 6 years in Okinawa and then a year in Camp Lejeune. My second son had the same challenges. Because I realized that as a parent, that they evolve and we have to evolve. And I'll never forget, after divorce, I told her, listen, stop yelling at them. You know, because they can't, they drown you out, they shut you down. Oh, you want to be the better parent. Oh, it's not about the being a better parent. I realized that they're growing young men. So yes, and because to this day, about 3 weeks ago, all three of my sons had shared with me, Dad, we see. We see the fact when I wouldn't let them disrespect her. I don't care what she would do, what she was saying to me. And see, the other thing is too, let me say this to you, for you brothers who are dealing with your divorce, stop responding. Don't even respond to a text. Don't text her off because all she wants is communication. And if you're uninterested in that person, shut down the communication because an argument is a loud conversation,
Yes.
but it's still a
And
conversation.
it's communication.
So the best thing to do is don't even argue. And if you're going to talk about the children, the important issues, triage it and see exactly what needs to be talked about and then ignore all the other stuff. But I made sure that my kids didn't disrespect her. I made sure they didn't hear me dissing her, talking about her, and now they defend me.
Wow.
They
To their mom.
To their mom. Oh, no, Dad didn't say that. Dad don't even talk about you. Dad don't even mention you. Matter of fact, I pray for her now when we do pray because I want her alive. I want her well. And I want somebody to marry her in Jesus' name.
I hear that.
I am silent.
You are silent?
Yo,
Huh?
you
You're
listen,
silent?
you have done a lot silencing this man right here.
Yeah.
Because he's never silent. He
Never.
always got something to say. That mouth is always running.
No, it's just not, divorces. I mean, I witnessed divorce, and he explained the things that I had questions about.
Wow. So
No.
he helped you.
He helped. He can't help me. I'm done already. My brain is already messed up. But he helped somebody. He helped somebody listening.
This guy.
He helped somebody. He helped somebody else that's listening.
I believe
I'm
that.
sure.
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, William, so are you healing or are you healed from that?
I'm both.
Okay, explain
Well,
that.
because you just don't know. Things will come up sporadically. Things will come up.
Little
Triggers.
salt in the wound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are things that you may not, that may have lied dormant. But I do realize the power of confrontation, the healthiness of being vulnerable, the healthiness of giving yourself grace.
Okay.
And sometimes feelings are so vitally important. And we need to really honor feelings and listen to our feelings and take ownership of our feelings, because feelings are indicators. They're signals. Whether it's a bad feeling or an angry feeling, unpack that feeling. And share it or talk about it, because
Is it okay or what, in your opinion, is it okay to talk about it with friends when you're triggered or you have that moment, or unpack it alone? What would you suggest?
well, it's sometimes you can't reach a friend. You have to unpack it alone, but give yourself grace and even look up a word. Look up, you can Google what anger is. And so many times we have the tendency, Pop, to treat symptoms or respond to a symptoms. Like, for instance, we hear NyQuil. NyQuil is a nighttime sneezing, coughing, upset, so
All
you
that
can,
stuff.
all that.
So
But
good.
everything that on that list on NyQuil are symptoms.
Right.
But let's go to the cause. And so we want to deal with where the root issues, and 9 times out of 10, the root issue is within yourself. Like, for instance, we hear people say nowadays, you triggered me. You make me feel. No, they can't make you feel a way at all. They can't pull, that trigger on the gun requires 7 pounds of pressure. You have your own trigger. I can't pull your trigger. Take ownership of you, of how you feel. But if something's making you feel that way, check what's making you feel
And
that
how you respond.
and how you respond,
Yeah.
because you're responsible for your own response.
Yes.
So you're responsible for your own happiness, and so taking ownership is so vitally important. During this process. So you ask, am I healed? I'm healed in a lot of areas, and there are certain things that I still see that comes up. It doesn't happen a whole lot, but there's certain things, because my corruption have not put on incorruption, and my mortal has not put on immortality. So I still feel, I still want to go at it. I still want to
Right.
get even,
It's still a part of that.
but
yeah.
I look at the
Want to
end.
win.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to get even and you want to win.
And now I'm at the place now where I'm gonna tell I'm focusing in now on telling my story, because there's a lot I didn't say.
Right.
And there are a lot of people who will look at the person, if it's one party always told their side, there are people who will side eye you like you're the
Yeah.
like you're nasty or you did something wrong, and but the key is also, don't become a victim or have a mindset where you're the victim. You can really manage your life when children are involved, and I told you that divorce is business.
I got a question.
We're still going on feelings when it's business.
How's your daughter?
So my daughter is my life. She's doing well, but I feel that she has become the protector of her,
Of the mother.
Okay.
because she loves me. But there are times, and I approached her on this, there are times when I call her and there's short answers. They moved back here to Connecticut at one point in time. They were in North Carolina earlier this year. So they've been back here for about 3 months now. So long story short, there are times I will call her and clown with her or whatever, and it's short messages.
just not
And
there.
I already knew who she was sitting next to or who was in the room. So she couldn't authentically be herself. And I talked to her one day. I said, listen, Mom's there? Well, I'm talking to her and said, yeah. You okay? Yeah. I understand. So when I got her and was with her, I said, listen, your moms need you. You know, and I'm glad you're there for her. But the challenge is, it's just too much for her. I don't want her to have to carry,
That's too heavy.
you know,
too
her
heavy.
mother's,
So how do you handle it? Like, what do you do?
as far as.
So if her mom is kind of pulling her by her heartstrings, how do you handle that as dad? Because you said she's your world.
Yeah, well, I have to debrief her and have open, candid conversations. And many times we think our children don't know, and we think our children can't handle hardcore truth. They can.
No, absolutely.
And we have to find a way to verbalize it, to share it, and create a safe space for them where they're not wrong. Don't make them feel wrong. Sorry, don't make them feel like they're, you know, that they're going to get in trouble
Right.
if they talk about that. So the main objective is constantly being open. And so I have candid conversations with my sons where I've repented to them. And there are times we parents don't do that enough. We don't repent to our children and say, listen, I missed it. I was off. I was wrong. And I didn't honor who you are. I stop and listen to my sons. I don't interrupt them. Their feelings are real. Even if I don't agree with their feelings, I still listen.
And you take ownership of your part
That's it.
in the divorce. And so you're not trying to walk away or try to make them feel that you was perfect in this
Oh,
whole thing.
absolutely
So
not.
you was open and honest with them. Your
They-
failures. Okay.
Do
My
your kids
inadequacies.
know what happened?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They do.
Okay.
And I told them at an age where they can handle it. You know.
That's important.
And so, but yeah, back to that open and honest. Yeah, this is where Dad failed.
Right.
This is where, you know, I believe that communication is everything in any relationship. It's the basis of life. Communication is bigger than sex to me.
Yeah.
It's bigger than any and everything. I believe if you can talk, that's some of the things that I've learned now, post divorce. That if you can talk through it, you can walk through it. I don't care what it is, what the challenges are.
How much is too much information for your children?
I don't think it's see, here's how I see our kids now. We're living in an hour where music is so vivid, movies are so vivid, their friendship, meaning it's open. There's no filters on nothing.
Right. That's true.
So I talk to my sons about,
You have to.
Everything.
You have to
Yeah,
be
me too.
open.
so there's no, you know,
You can't play games. They're not stupid.
They're not-
we,
they're
we,
not.
we think
I
our
gotta let them
children
know
don't
that
know.
I was their age at one time.
Yeah.
so
I got it.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the biggest dad moment I have, I'll never get. My ex-wife called me one day and said, Will, you got to come up here because he ran up the cable and the cable's off because I know what he was doing. I'm like, okay, he was choking his bald-headed champ. He was playing pocket pool. So when I got there, I asked him. So I got in the car. She was outside with the other kids, and I said, "Get in the car." So I said, drove around the car corner real fast, and I said, "Will, got out the car. He was scared out of his mind." I said, "Porno? Are you serious, Will? Are you Will?" He was scared. He didn't know what I was going to do. Then I said, "Good job, son." I pat him on the back because I'm a Pentecostal church boy, and none of that was ever. You see what I'm saying?
The openness of it.
So
the
I was like,
realness of it.
"Listen, son, you're okay. You're not off. You know, which little
No,
out,
Don't say it. I
which
think
little rascal you like?
that's what I was-
Spanky."
So a few minutes ago, Sonia asked you, "Are you healing, or are you healed?" And you said both. How did you heal?
Wow, it took time, and it took me to see where I was wrong, where I was off. When I think on the last episode, I talked about being the power of truth and the power of covering, and where I failed and being truthful. Where I heard her say things about me that I was in denial with. I didn't own up to. I justified. You know, that goes on a lot with a lot of men that I counsel and that's in my sessions that I coach, and getting the person to see themselves. It took me a while to see myself. And so what helped me is when I really started dealing with the hard facts about William,
Yes.
my inadequacies.
Yeah.
I had to confront those things,
Yeah.
and you know, and so and even now I give grace to myself. You know, I give grace to myself. I realize that, you know, I miss it at times, and all right, but then it's just really giving yourself accountability, and therapy is a good place for accountability. It helps.
Did you look at your marriage and the failing of your marriage as a failure, a personal failure?
I did. I did, and just because of my, you know, upbringing, you know, and you know, it's just, and I
Is
just,
it safe to say like you succeeded in so many things, and then you came to this and you didn't succeed?
it's
That's a
safe
hard
to say that.
failure.
It's safe to say that.
That's safe to say that. Okay.
It's safe to say that. You know, there's no one good answer to any of this. I think the main objective is to be raw, open, and honest, and own your stuff. You know, because 9 times out of 10, if someone's saying that, if you hear it a whole lot, other people see it, but we don't see it. We don't see it. Who better see you than the person that you're around? Who better know you? You know, because a lot of times what's said about him or her, there's some truth to it.
Absolutely.
So I'm perfect? Wow.
Really proud.
That's what they always saying about me.
So, okay, William. So, we want to thank you for coming to Truth Is podcast and telling your story, sharing your truth, and giving information, important information out to men who are going through or have gone through what you are dealing with, and because it's needed.
Sure.
Because unfortunately, a lot of our men, black men, that's all I know, may not know their rights and what they can do and the power they have to help themselves in a situation like that. So we want to thank you for being here. And Pop, Anita?
No, I concur. Thank you so much, my friend, my brother, for sharing your story. It was very enlightening, and I heard you, and I think I've learned a lot from a male's perspective. You
Right.
know, I am a divorcee, and you know, I look at it from my perspective,
Right.
but it was very interesting to hear your perspective. So I thank you for coming. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Oh, this is when I say thank you too.
You can.
You
And you don't
can.
have to say
It's
thank
fine.
you,
Yeah.
Pop. You don't have to.
Thank you, Will, for coming and finally opening up all the way. I felt like in the beginning you was a little hesitant, and you started to trust us as it went on, and you opened up, and I appreciate you trusting us. And Truth Is podcast with your feelings.
Thank you. Thank
So
you
if
for
you
having me.
have any questions for Will that you would like us to pass on to him, you can email us at truthiS1311@gmail.com. TruthiS1311@gmail.com. Thank you.